Hi guys, today what I'm looking to go over is the pre-sale and your soap opera sequence questions. I would have probably sent you guys a question or this sheet for you to expand on, but I just want to quickly run through what each part means and how it's relevant to the soap opera sequence. And then what I'll do is I'll show you how I would structure your soap opera sequence so that you can, get it, create the best value for it. Okay, so to start off with, we'll just run through these questions. They're not really questions, but I've put them as questions. So Q1, what we have is backstory. What you need to do here is just basically describe your backstory, what you were doing before you found internet marketing, how you were living, what position you were in, what sort of things were going on in your life. All those types of things. Just write a good paragraph, or two, explaining it all in quite depth. Obviously, the more detailed you can be with this, the better it will be when we go into the soap opera sequence and also when we create pages with this information. Q2 is realization. This part, you want to explain what happened the moment you sort of realized something needed to change. You needed to do something differently to what you were currently doing to take your life in the direction that you wanted it to go. Question 3 is experimentation. So after you had that realization, what sort of things did you do? Did you go and buy loads of ebooks? Did you listen to a load of audio programs? Did you buy loads of products? What sort of things did you do, and did they work? I mean, what was the result of those? So that's what you want to put in that paragraph. Q4 is your epiphany or your turning point. This is where you want to explain what happened for you to realize, that changed the course of where you were going. Before you might have been buying loads of ebooks, but then you realized that to be successful, you needed a mentor, for instance, or any epiphany that you had in your own mind that sort of changed the direction drastically of where you were going. That's what you want to put in this section. Q5 is problems. So here you want to explain the main problems you faced whilst on your journey. Any hurdles that you've come up against that you've had to overcome, whether it be by yourself or with your mentor, with whoever, any problems that you've come up against. And then that goes on to Q6, which explains the solutions to those problems. So for instance, one problem might be I was making sales, but because it was through ClickBank, all the commissions were very small, so I wasn't making very much money. What the solution to that would be could be, and then I found Mob, which obviously pays out high commissions, which meant I was making a lot more money for the amount of effort I was putting in. Okay, so that's basically the questions. Now, once that's all filled out, we can move on to creating your soap opera sequence. Your soap opera sequence is the initial 3 emails that you send out when someone subscribes to your list. What you're aiming to do with this sequence of emails is to build a relationship, get them to know, like, and trust you. Okay, so with email 1, what you want to do is you want to start with a point of high drama. You want the first paragraph, first sentence even of the email to be really captivating. You want it to capture the audience and make them think, well, why is this happening? I want to know more. So through that, what you want to do is explain your starting point and what made it a must. So what made the change a must? Okay. And then into email 2, what email 2 is based around is your backstory. So it's giving the audience a bit of information about you, where you were, what you were doing, and then you allude to the epiphany that you had. So back up here, the epiphany turning point. In email 2, you'll allude to that epiphany, and sort of hook them for day 3. Day 3 is all around the epiphany. So this is where you will explain your aha moment, and this is where you'll mainly push the product that you offered to the person when they initially opted in. Okay, so that's an outline of the soap opera sequence. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I would structure these emails when you're creating them. Okay, so I've already written this out. So on day 1, this is your high drama email. Okay, so one tip is with your soap opera sequence, have this little section here in saying, email 1 of 3, email 2 of 3, and 3 of 3. What this does is it automatically creates a story to these people, and they say, I want to come back and read the next section. I want the full view of the story. Okay, so with email 1, you want to start with high drama. So you want it to be very captivating. You want it to capture your audience and create a real image in that person's mind. Don't want it to be dull. It wants to be very imaginative and sort of emotional. Okay, and then what you do is you go through your story of how you got to the high drama place, and then you hook to day 2. So this is like opening a loop. So you might say something, and then at the end of it say, check back tomorrow to find, to learn what happened, or something along those lines. You'd then just say, thanks, Cam Jared, and then PS, don't forget to check out xyz.com. So this would be the offer that they initially saw when they came and opted in for your product. So it could be MTTB, or it could be a pre-sale page that you've created that then sells MTTB. Okay, so then moving on to day 2, we have day 2 of 3 again, so keeping them reading. And this is where you explain your backstory. So you talk a bit about where you were, and this all corresponds to the questions here. So the backstory, all these answers are what you can transfer into here. So hit a wall, this would be like the experimentation, maybe some of the problems. So, you're experimenting and not getting anywhere. That was your wall. Alluding to the epiphany. Obviously, the epiphany is the turning point. Just give a sort of a little feeder of the epiphany to them, but don't give them too much information. And then you want to hook to day 3. So something similar, read back tomorrow to find out what changed my life, or something like that. And then, just thanks, Cam Jared. And then you might want to also put another PS in here. Don't forget to check out XYZ. That's completely up to you, how you phrase these. Obviously, you can look at phrasing them a little bit differently. You can also even drop a link or two in the story, as long as it's relevant to how the story is going. Day 3, so you've got the final day, 3 of 3. This is where you show your epiphany. This is this section here. You want to explain the epiphany that you had, the turning point that you had. Tell them the story to how you came about to that epiphany, what led you up to that. Show any results that you've had from the change that you made because of that epiphany. If you don't have any results yourself yet, then what you can do is you can leverage, Shakir's results. So if, for instance, you were to say, I'm working with an 8-figure mentor who has done XYZ, or just crossed $2 million in MOB, or something like that, that's more, you can put that in there. And then after that, you want to push your call to action. So your call to action is going back to this web, the page that they initially opted into, whether it be a pre-sale page or the MTTB offer. And that's it. That's how you would structure your SOS sequence. And then once you filled this out, you can also transfer that into any pre-sale pages or pre-sale funnels that you may have. Okay, that's it for today. Cheers, guys.